up, motherfucker?
Haha, we have audio. Success. Alright everyone, so welcome to part 2 of Ask the King for April 30th, 2015. If you have not seen part 1, I strongly recommend you go check it out. There were some great questions, some good answers that I gave. Don't miss out on that, but let's jump right into part 2, okay? Alright, so the next question, this one is from Silent Warrior 25, who asks the following. He says, Phil, I was thinking about future games that you could play that you never had a chance to do before, and it got me wondering. Ooh, it didn't give him wondering if he had indigestion. That's me from dinner. Excuse me. Okay, so he was wondering, do you still have your Wii? And are you able to stream from that? If so, would you consider playing some Gamecube games? I recall that you got the Gamecube controller for Smash Bros. 4, and I think there are quite a few games that you missed out on that are very enjoyable, like Paper Mario, The Thousand-Year Door, and the Star Fox Adventures Assault series. It would be fun to see you play those games and any others that other fans would want to see you play if possible. Thanks for reading my question, and keep up the good work. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, do I still have my Wii, and would I play Gamecube games? The answer to this is, number 1, yes, kind of, and number 2, yes, but with a kind of addendum. Yes, I still have my Wii. My Nintendo Wii is crammed either in one of those bins against my wall over there that have been there since I moved, or jammed into one of my storage bins in my closet. I don't know where it is. I have it, but I have no recollection where it is. I probably don't have all the cords and shit for it, although let's be honest, the same cords that work with the Wii U work with it, except for a component cable. However, the addendum I have to that is I do not have a method to capture from it anymore. The only way that I would ever be able to capture from a last-gen... I'm sorry, there's a hair right in front of me that's bothering me. I got it. The only way that I could capture from a last-gen console that does not do HDMI video is to get some kind of a capture device that does component. The problem is, my current adapter, it's the AverMedia U3 Extreme Cap device. The component never worked. I tried it since day one. It doesn't work. I've tried it with multiple consoles. It just doesn't capture from the component. It has an adapter for it. It doesn't work. I had an HD PVR 2. That's what I was using to capture through component. It died. I don't have that anymore. I do have an Elgato capture device. I've given that to Leanna, and today we actually messed around and we got it working with Leanna's PS2. So, if it came down to it, yes, I could probably get the Elgato back from Leanna, and I could find a way to hook up the original Wii somehow, and I could technically find a way to do a playthrough on it. However, from what I'm actually able to understand, is that a lot of the games that were like classic GameCube games ended up being released on the Nintendo Virtual Console anyway, so you could probably play them on the Wii U. So I'm almost positive that that Nintendo Paper Mario Thousand-Year Door game probably is available on the dashboard thingy. And what I would do is I would download it. If you remember, there's a Wii console emulator inside of the Wii U. So I would download it, put it onto that emulator, and play it that way. Similarly to the way that I played Phoenix Wright 1 year ago. Remember, I finally finished my Phoenix Wright Part 2 playthrough, and I never finished it after multiple years. I went back and finished it last year. Doing that, I went to the virtual Wii console and did it that way. So I almost get the feeling that, excuse me. I almost get the feeling that that will be the way if I do classic GameCube games. Unfortunately, I think it's too much work to get Elgato hooking up again and get the old Wii, okay? I would consider, now if people have great suggestions, for example, for GameCube games in the future, I would definitely consider playing them. However, I need to know what are the GameCube games that you guys would like to see. For a perfect example here, Metroid Prime Trilogy, right? So those are apparently some of the best games for the GameCube. Well, they just released a trilogy of that recently for the Wii, and I did get it. I bought the Metroid Prime Trilogy, and I have it, so I could play it whenever I feel like it, and I am planning on actually doing Metroid Prime Part 1 sometime coming up in the next few months. I'm not sure when. I don't want to make a promise to anyone, but being in the next few months, you know, May looks like it may be a little heavy, but coming into June, July, we're finally hitting the summer downtime. That would probably be a time that I would check out one of those games, okay? Okay, next question. Oh, this is a really interesting one. Okay, comes from Ray117, and he asks the following. He said, "Is that hair?" No. Okay. He says, "Hey Phil, if a mainstream gaming media company like IGN, GameSpot, Kotaku, etc. offered you a job, would you ever consider taking it? For fun, let's say you could start doing game reviews for them, you could go to E3 and cover it for them, and covering all the new games. I realize in the past you've criticized them for not having journalistic integrity, and therefore, under what circumstances would you seriously consider joining their organizations?" Okay, let's be honest about this one now. Let's be really honest about this one, ladies and gentlemen. Over the years that I've done this, since 2008, unfortunately, more often than not, I found that the mainstream gaming media have not really been neutral and really have a lot of issues with journalistic integrity. If anything, the bullshit we've seen with games like Halo ODST, great reviews for Destiny, you know what I mean? All these outlets who kissed the ass of these games that really weren't very good. And then, of course, the whole Gamergate fiasco that just recently happened, when it's been exposed that a lot of these gaming companies are colluding. These media companies are colluding to do things which is so journalistically just disloyal to the gamer. It's disingenuous. It's not... there's no validity to it. There's no trust, nothing. It's bad ethics, right? Lack of ethics. I would be very hard-pressed to find myself taking a job with one of these companies. However, here's the thing. The companies aren't looking for me. When GameSpot, IGN, Kotaku, they're not looking for people like me, a gamer who loves games and is known for playing games. They're looking for journalists. They want someone who went to journalism school and got, a 4-year degree in journalism, and they wrote for this website and this paper and this or that. They are actually looking for people who are really like gamers. And that's the problem. If you look at some of the people who end up there, they might have great credentials, but then you look at what they've done with games, and it's terrible. There's one particular guy, I'm not going to call his name out because everyone knows who he is, who I fucking think he's the biggest hack gamer. When he writes his reviews, they're the worst kind of babble bullshit, where he's talking out of his ass about how this game, I didn't get it, it played like a game from the 1980s. He's reviewing Double Dragon Neon, a game that's supposed to be a throwback to the game from the 1980s, and he's complaining it plays like that. Like, he's the biggest buffoon on the planet. He misreported things. He misreported for Killer Instinct that game was going to only have characters downloadable one at a time. You were not going to be able to buy the game and have a bunch of characters at once. You have to buy them all as separate DLCs. He's misreported things. He's had terrible journalistic progress in his career, and IGN fucking hired him and defends his bullshit because they don't care. They don't care about the integrity of what they do. All they care about is this. So as long as the ad revenue keeps fucking coming in, why the fuck would they care if anything they put out has any kind of integrity? Go ask the editor. Oh yes, everything that we put out is very, very journalistic integrity. It's weighed and balanced. And then you look at the reviews. One guy gave a game a 6, another guy gave a game a 9. You read the reviews and they're fucking identical when it comes to the content of the review. But he says, oh, 6 and 9 are fine scores, even though your reviews basically say the same thing about two completely different games. That's the bullshit that the mainstream media is. They're not real journalists. They're assholes. They are. Because games are still taken in such a light that, oh, it's just a game. It doesn't have to be taken seriously. Keep in mind, video games are now the multi-billion-dollar industry. They're the biggest entertainment industry in the world. Bigger than movies, bigger than TV, but we still don't have to take it seriously, apparently. It's still just a game for kids, right? It's a little kiddie thing. It's still not regarded as a work of art or of a valid business practice. My God, when I tell some people that I do video game stuff on the internet for a living, they're like, what? You play games all day? What the hell does that mean? How is that a job? And it's like, because it is. It's the biggest fucking industry in the world. Like, I don't get it. But that's the truth. That the mainstream gaming journalism is not serious. They don't really have a lot of integrity, all right? At least from what I've seen. My experiences with the things that I've seen, from my experiences with games and the shit that I see them spew out on a regular basis. The good news about the way that I do stuff, and now there's a plane flying by, so that's what you're hearing. The good news about the way I do stuff is that I don't bow to anyone. I don't have to answer to Machinima. I don't have to answer to IGN. I don't have to answer to the game publisher who I'm playing the game of. I don't have to answer to anyone. I can say whatever I want and give my honest feelings about what I'm saying. So if I were to work for one of these companies, and they said, Phil, we want you to do game reviews for us because we feel that you have clout, because over the years you've done game reviews, and we really think that you do a good job, I'm going to say, that's fine, but if I say something about a game, that's going to be in the review. My score is going to stay, and it's going to have valid points backing it up. And I swear to God, if I give a game a 6, and I see some other guy giving another game a 6 that's actually a pretty decent game because he had a bad day and he stubbed his fucking toe, or because he doesn't understand it's a throwback game to the 1980s and he gives it a 6 out of 10 because he doesn't like 1980s games, I'm going to punch him in the face and I'm going to quit. Because I'm not going to be a part of that bullshit. I'm not going to be a part of a corporation that's based off of this instead of what you're supposed to be doing, relaying information to people, helping people to figure out if they want to buy this game or play this game and actually legitimately cover these things. And that's the bottom line, is these main places, that's not what they're about 90% of the time. So the other, of course, factor here is that I'm completely independent and I make money for myself, versus now I would have to get a salaried paycheck with them. They would tell me what events I have to cover. They would control my destiny. Right now, being that I am a business owner of my own stuff, I control my own destiny. I don't have to play a game if I don't want to. I don't have to cover an event if I don't want to, right? I do things that I want to do. Would I have more capability to say maybe have an inside coverage of E3 if I worked for IGN? Of course. I'd go to E3, I'd be there, you know, cover. But IGN would say, Phil, you have to cover Konami, you have to cover NetherRealm, and you have to cover Joe Splamoni's Indie Game House, and that's what you're covering today, so go do it, and that's what I have to do. I wouldn't be able to go around and cover what I want, and I don't like that. I like having control over my own destiny, control over my own content, and so I know, if I right now, GameSpot called me and they said, Phil, we will give you a job for, I don't know, I'm just throwing a crazy number out there. I don't know what journalists get paid, what, 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year? Is that what a standard gaming journalist would make? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe it's way more, maybe it's way less. I have no clue. And I said, for that amount, we'll get you on a salary. We're going to fly it all eventually. Come out to the studios here in California, meet the whole crew. You'll start writing articles tomorrow. I'll say, no. Because that's not what I'm about, because I'm not going to be part of that nonsense. I'm going to continue to make my own content and be true to myself and not have to worry about being dependent on someone else to tell me what to do. Okay. So, next question. This one's from I Will Break You. Oh, this is a... Oh, boy. I don't know if this is a joke or not. From I Will Break You, he asks the following. Phil, I just wanted to ask, what is your opinion on Jared Leto's Joker that will be featured in the upcoming Suicide Squad film? It's like... Do you really want me to comment on this? And the reason I'm approaching the question like this is because it seemed to me that when this picture was released of Jared Leto playing the Joker in the upcoming Suicide Squad film, by the way, he's not the main character. The movie's supposed to be about a group of female supervillains, and he's supposed to be like a side character or a supporting character in the movie, all right? When they showed this picture, it was like the internet exploded. Like, nothing matters today. It doesn't matter that there's war in the Middle East. It doesn't matter that there was this cool event going on over here. Gaming doesn't matter. Nothing. Today is apparently shit on Jared Leto Joker Day. And every fucking YouTube vlogger had to make a video, right? There was no exceptions. If you're a YouTube vlogger, I'm going to drop I don't care if I'm a baker, if I fucking do makeup, if I fucking am an athlete and I do backflips. I'm making a vlog today about how the Jared Leto Joker is fucking terrible, all right? I didn't need to tell you that the Jared Leto Joker was terrible. When you saw it, you knew. He's got fucking the fakest looking stupid tattoos all over his body. It looks like someone took a magic marker and wrote them on him, and you could tell they're not real, that they were just photoshopped onto his fucking body. You could tell 2 seconds looking at the character that what they're trying to do is redesign the Joker. They're trying to make him a different character. Maybe he's more of a youthful gang-related kind of a guy rather than the homicidal maniac that we know from the comics and from recent movies. We know it's a different take, but why is this news? This is what I mean. This is what you don't see me dropping everything to do vlogs on this shit because it's not news. It's like, I think that you as a human, I trust you. I believe that you're an intelligent enough person that when you saw that picture of the Jared Leto Joker, you probably looked at it and said, that kind of looks like shit. So why do I need to tell you that? I'm not a talking head to tell you about everything in your life. If there's something pertinent to gaming or pertinent to my life, then I'll address it. But I'm not going to drop everything. Phil, why didn't you talk about Jared Leto Joker? Jared Leto Joker. Fuck Jared Leto Joker. Like, who cares? Seriously. You want my honest... I already answered the Batman versus Superman question on a previous vlog that I did. I think that DC's going the wrong direction. I think that all the DC movies kind of are sucking. I liked the Batman Begins trilogy. I did not like Man of Steel that much. I think that the trailer for Batman vs. Superman looks fucking terrible. I think that Suicide Squad's gonna suck. I think that this is a group of filmmakers who saw what Marvel did with the Marvel Universe and said, oh shit, we gotta jump on that bandwagon. We gotta do everything like Marvel does. So, oh, Marvel has Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we gotta have Gotham. Oh, Marvel has their own cinematic universe, we gotta make Batman vs. Superman. No, sorry. I don't think that they're treating these characters with enough respect. I don't think that they're true to the formula of who these characters are. I think that the movies will suck. But I could be completely wrong. The bottom line is, who cares? I don't care about one little piece of the Joker, Jared Leto Joker, terrible picture, absolutely terrible, says nothing really about the character except I have tattoos of stupid shit on my body. It's a non-issue, it's stupid, it's a waste of time, and people should stop getting all uppity about every little thing in pop culture. And no, I'm not the kind of YouTuber that has to drop everything I'm doing to all of a sudden do a fucking vlog about the Jared Leto Joker. It's that much of a non-issue that I'm above it. I don't need to fucking waste my time and waste your time and your intelligence talking about that shit at length in a special vlog that I would drop everything for, okay? Alright. Excuse me. Alright, next question. This one is from Cody Carls, and he says, hey Phil. Hold on a second. Did I write the right? I don't know if I wrote down the right question. Oh, yes, okay. I'm sorry. I screwed up. I copied half of a question. Alright, from Cody Carls, here's his question. He says, what I want to know is that have there ever been moments in your career where you were in the middle of a game and someone spoiled a major plot point that you're not supposed to know yet, and do you have any specific examples? I know personally that spoilers can affect someone's view of the game, and it ruins the first-time discovery of playing a new game. Great question. Yes. Let's face it. I'm going to be honest with everyone. Being who I am, again, that I am a public persona, that you have multiple ways to reach me via email, via Twitter, via Facebook, via video comments, via stream chat comments, right? There's not much I can do. If people want to spoil something for me, they're going to spoil it for me. I could tell you this, for the most part, when it comes to newer games, okay? Most of the time, new releases don't get spoiled for me. Because it would really be an undertaking for a troll to rush out, watch someone's full playthrough, find a critical plot point that's the big plot spoiler, come and try to spoil it and manage to catch me while I'm either playing the game or whatever and spoil the whole game for me. There was a couple situations, one of them that I found the most hilarious out of all these I'll share with you right now. Grand Theft Auto 5. In Grand Theft Auto 5, there were people who, on day one when the game came out, because remember, there were no spoilers for GTA 5. That game, Rockstar's very hush-hush about their games. On day one, everyone was saying, Franklin dies, Franklin dies, Franklin dies. On every piece of my stream, Franklin dies. On Twitter, Franklin dies. Here, Franklin dies, Franklin dies for 3 days straight, right? Now, keep in mind, GTA 5 is an incredibly long game, so the only way they would know that is if they themselves rushed through the game nonstop, not stopping, or they saw someone who had an advanced copy who had recorded the ending, okay? Guess what? That's not the ending. In fact, that's one possibility of multiple endings that you can get for the game based off of your own performance and choices in the game. So there is an option in the game where Franklin dies, but that's not the mainstream, no end-all, be-all ending of the game. So it was absolutely hilarious that these people went out of their way to try to spoil the game for me and my viewers, and it wasn't even the ending of the game. It was complete horseshit because my ending was actually the good ending where everyone survives and they all kind of go off their own separate ways. So it was pretty funny that happened, and but there are situations. I'll be honest with you guys, okay? I'll be honest with you guys. There are times when things are spoiled. I'll be honest. There have been playthroughs recently of games that are older, and particularly happens when you're playing a game that maybe is old, right? I'm playing a game for the first time that I never played before. It's a throwback game, right? Which I've done tons of in the past couple of years. That people will spoil, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once people spoil, it's done, you know? And of course, you don't know if to believe them or not, but then if you get a couple people who kind of repeat the same thing, they're like, oh, motherfucker. So, yeah, there's really not much that can be done in that regard. And some people might not even realize they're doing it, others do it just to troll, and that's it. I would say, luckily with new games, it doesn't happen that often. It's only with older playthroughs or more retro games that I play that it does happen, and it can't be avoided. It just can't. You know, there are people, I've already addressed this, there are people who their the meaning of their existence is to ruin something for someone. Like, how that is someone's idea of some kind of a legitimate or progressive existence, I have no idea, but it is for some people, and they will spoil whatever they can. So, yeah, there's been games that have been spoiled. I'm not going to specifically call it out, and I'm not going to tell you anything about certain games, because that would just be giving the people undue attention that they don't deserve. Okay? Alright, next question. Now, the next two things are common questions that I was asked, meaning lots of people asked about them because they were kind of really popular things this past month. Number one, the Silent Hills being canceled situation. If you guys have not heard, what a month it's been. First, rumors that Hideo Kojima was going to be leaving Konami and had a falling out. Then official announcement, and all of a sudden all this stuff happened where Konami removed the Kojima logo and removed all the Kojima stuff from everything related to Metal Gear Solid 5. Then they announced, like, they basically, the internal team, the Team Kojima, or whatever they're called, didn't have access to phones and critical things inside the company, like they were cutting them off from the rest of the company. Then it was announced that Kojima is officially going to leave the company 100% after MGS5. He'll have no more association with them. So then it was up in the air what's going to happen to this Silent Hills game. This game that was supposed to be Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, and Norman Reedus kind of all collaborating to make this awesome survival horror game. And they even had the playable teaser at E3 last week, right? The big survival horror playable teaser. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone wanted to see it. I played it, and it's all for nothing. The whole fucking project is canceled. Wow. And again, I have to say, what the fuck? I already talked about this, so I'm not going to go into length about it. What the fuck kind of a break can you have between Kojima and Konami that this happened? But then, now here's the kicker out of all this. This is the thing that kind of wasn't really prominently discussed. Konami removed their stock from the United States stock market listings. They're a publicly traded company, but they removed their stock from the listing so no one could buy them. What does this mean? I'll tell you what this means. The only time that that will happen is if a company is in such dire straits that they don't feel that they're considered a healthy company and that they can't come through on their promises anymore, and financially they're not going to reach their goals. That's when you remove your company from a stock exchange. So when they're doing that, that is symbolically them saying, we think we're fucked. It doesn't look like we're going to be doing very well in the near future. So we have no confidence in our own company, and we're going to step out of the public marketplace. So that was like a huge, holy, for anyone who has like a financial background like me, I studied finance in college. When I heard that, I was like, holy shit, like that's worse than Kojima leaving. That's like the death knell. I even said on Twitter, it's basically saying Konami is the Walking Dead. Technically, they're still moving. They're going to be releasing a few products like MGS5, but after that, they're done. What do they have left? They've ruined Castlevania, the Castlevania plotline and the Castlevania series with Lords of Shadow 2. That game was utter shit. A lot of their long-standing franchises they haven't done anything with in 100 years, right? I don't know. What are they going to do to keep alive anymore? I just don't understand it. And it's like, all the hype, right? All the hype that was behind Silent Hills immediately just squashed. Millions of people worldwide saying, wow, what a disappointment. Even Norman Reedus tweeted, he's like, dude, I loved the idea of being in this project, and I'm so disappointed that it's canceled. I hope it comes together again at some point, but this sucks. Wow. Now, on the flip side of that, we actually have a little bit of good news. Not for everyone. It's not mainstream good news, but for those who are interested in this kind of thing. The Call of Duty Black Ops 3 trailer was released, and finally we got initial information about the game. For those who don't know, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is the third game now in a row being made by Treyarch. Treyarch, I believe, made 4. I think they made World at War. And then Black Ops 1, 2, and 3. They might have made one before that. Don't quote me on that. But they're known to be one of the big game development studios that makes Call of Duty in a circle. Like every year, a different studio takes a shot at it, and this was Treyarch's year. I actually liked Black Ops 1 and 2 a lot, so I'm actually pretty excited for Black Ops 3. They announced not only will there be the return of their classic zombies mode, which is always awesome, it's episodic. I've done co-op playthroughs of this with friends before, and we had a blast doing it over the years. Not only is that returning, but they're also going to be doing a full co-op campaign for the first time ever, where it's the same as zombies, you can play through the campaign with your friends, and I was like, that's pretty fucking sweet. That's pretty sweet. I'm excited for that. And, you know, I'm looking forward immediately. My friend Nestor and Chris both texted me. They were like, dude, we're definitely on board for this. You know, we're excited for it. So, thumbs up. Thumbs up for Black Ops 3 so far. Looking forward to it. Treyarch's done a good job with Black Ops 1 and 2, and I definitely hope that that's something that turns out well, and I hope you guys will join me for one. The co-op stuff I do with those guys, with the Black Ops games, it's always good. Like, I haven't had a time that I played it yet that I didn't like it, so I think you guys are going to like it, so check it out, okay? Okay. Next question is from Vlayer, and he says, hey, Phil, in terms of video game soundtracks, do you have a specific favorite, or maybe any particular one that triggers nostalgia? Now, for me, I'm kind of the exception, because a lot of people would say, yeah, well, you know, in the 90s, there was this cool game that I really liked, and, you know, and then there was this game with great soundtrack on the PlayStation 1. For me, it's got to be, you know, the classic Street Fighter tunes of yesteryear. You know, anything Street Fighter 2 through, like, Street Fighter Alpha series was, like, the iconic Street Fighter music that I kind of grew up with. If I hear those songs or remixes, I instantly will recognize them and know what character it is. In addition to that, I would say any music from Final Fantasy 2 or 4. It's 4 in worldwide, but it was 2 in America. And 3 or 6. 3 in America, 6 worldwide. Those songs, again, Nobuo Uematsu, one of the best video game composers, in my opinion, ever. He went on to do other music for other games that I loved, like Chrono Trigger and Blue Dragon. All those music, that's so iconic to me. But, you know, as of late, there's been some pretty great stuff when you take a look. Like, I'm playing Persona 4 right now, and the soundtrack of Persona 4, in my opinion, is outstanding. And I'm not a fan of J-pop, but the fact that they implemented certain songs into the games is awesome. Like that. The battle theme is a J-pop song that's catchy. Like, da, 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 da. I like it. Versus other games, it might be like droning. I think they had an excellent choice of soundtrack for that game, and that's probably one of my favorite soundtracks as of late for a video game. So it balances, but you know, the classics I'm gonna like, but there are games here and there that I really like the soundtracks to as well. Okay. Next question is from Bushidoa, and he asks the following. He says, Phil, with this year's Assassin's Creed now being set in the Victorian era, what do you hope that they fix from Assassin's Creed Unity, and what do you want future Assassin's Creed games to hold? Of course, they're going to need to take a year off after this one. Stay ballsy and keep up the PMA. Listen, here's the thing about Assassin's Creed Unity last year. The game wasn't bad. Assassin's Creed Unity took away a lot of stuff from the previous games, like the whole having the cult of Brotherhood of Assassins we would send out for mini missions and shit like that. They did away with that. But they did have significant improvements in the parkour, in the combat system. There were improvements, okay? And if the game actually fucking ran like a game that should be running on a next-gen console, it was next-gen exclusive, then I probably would have loved the game. The problem was the game ran like a piece of shit. Like, if you're going to design a game for a next-gen console, it's only on the next-gen console, and it runs like shit on the next-gen console, you failed. And that's exactly what happened with Ubisoft last year. They did a terrible job with that game. And that ruined the experience for me. When you're in the middle of a fluid sequence where things are supposed to be excellent, and you're, wow, this is high production value, and then chug, 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 chop, 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 chug, chug, I can't see what's going on. Oh, no, I can't counter, it's a fight. Oh, God, what's going on? Oh, dead. And it's like, fuck this. I don't want to play this game anymore. And that's kind of multiple times last year playing Assassin's Creed Unity, I felt that way. So with this year, Assassin's Creed being set in the Victorian era, I would be satisfied. Just make the fucking game, number one, not fucking run like shit. Make it run smooth. Number two, have the things you improved from last year and add a little bit extra to it. Doesn't have to be so overblown. You know what I mean? A little bit more detail maybe, but, you know, I liked Assassin's Creed Unity, except that it was such a slap in the face to people who bought this and played an underperforming piece of shit. Make the game run properly. Be on par with AC Unity, and you'll have a hit on your hands. Don't be fucking assholes and release a piece of shit that you know is a piece of shit. There's no way they released Unity and didn't know it was a piece of shit. They fucking had a game in a fucking box, and they said, buy this shit. $60 dookie. Here it is. And that pisses me the fuck off that they would do that. I hope the game wasn't in there. Oh, shit. Nah, the game's in my PS4. I played it last night. It's like, oh, shit. I just smashed MKX on the floor. Oh, shit. No, okay, it's not. All right. Next question. This one is from Rogers, and Rogers asks the following. I have two questions. I doubt they'll get any attention. Well, guess what? I'm going to answer your questions. Number 1, I recall back when Mario Kart 8 came out, you said you were going to keep it for any DLC that came out. Are there any plans to revisit it now that both packs are out and genuinely great? Number 2, I'm one of those idiots who enjoys seeing videos reacting to Nintendo Directs and E3 stuff. I don't know why he thinks he's an idiot. Weird. I never said anyone was an idiot who liked that. I don't know. Have you ever considered streaming it? It would be nice to see someone who doesn't fake tears over announcements, reactions to things. Alright, number 1, I never said I was keeping Mario Kart 8 for DLCs. I actually said I was keeping Mario Kart 8 because I bought the digital version. So I'm stuck with it. It's on my Wii U. I don't have a game to trade in. I'll be honest. I played Mario Kart 8. I liked it. And the viewer base didn't have the same reaction as me. After playing through the game once, where you'll see every track once, most people were like, I don't want to see Phil play this anymore. I don't think the game's very exciting after seeing everything once. It's not like Phil's playing in a party atmosphere with other people. I was just playing it, you know, single player, whatever, or online multiplayer. And it wasn't that exciting. And most people are like, it's Mario Kart. Like, what else could you... Now, of course, but Phil, there's giant YouTubers who make videos of Mario Kart 8 and got 5 million views. Yeah, because they're big YouTubers. People would like to see them fucking flip an egg, fucking braid someone's hair, and take a piss, and they'll get 5 million views on it. That's why they got 5 million views on it, not because they were playing Mario Kart 8. You know what I mean? I don't have that kind of following. So, for me, after playing through the game once, I was satisfied, and I was like, okay, I don't really feel like playing it anymore, because it seems like people aren't really interested, and I've seen everything in the game. So now the DLCs came out, and people are like, Phil, you gonna play it? I'm like, but it's the same thing. It's like, you know, it's, you know, a couple characters, maybe, I don't even know, was there a track released? I don't even know. Why would I care? You know, and that was kind of the mentality. There was other stuff going on. Why am I going to drop everything to try out the DLCs? It never made sense. It never really made sense for me to go back to it. Now, on the flip side of that, people keep asking me about this. Phil, when Nintendo does a Nintendo Direct, when E3, when there's an E3 press conference, will you live stream during that and react to it live? Almost like Mystery Science Theater 3000, where you're watching it and you're reacting to it live. What? Like, I don't understand this at all. So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to, like, have the press conference here in the corner, like right here, right? And then I'm here and I'm watching it and I'm talking about it? I can't. That's illegal. I'm rebroadcasting a copyrighted broadcast. I can't do that. Maybe I could do it live on Twitch and get away with it if I never upload it to YouTube. But I don't care about doing a live stream like that. I would watch the conference. Immediately after the conference, I make my reactions videos to this stuff at E3. I've done this every year. So I don't understand, like, what is the fad of seeing me say, like, a live commentary to it? I don't understand. What's the difference between you seeing me do it live and then the video gets taken down for copyright infringement, or if you just hear me talk about it immediately after? Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Plus, let's face it, those press conferences are way too fucking long. Like, way too... 2 hours for them to announce, like, 3 games. It's like, well, why the fuck did, you know... My summary will be a half an hour and 45 minutes of their 2.5-hour press conference. You want a 2.5-hour video of me reacting live to the boring shit? That's kind of crappy. I don't know. I don't understand why people ask for this or what the appeal is. I guess some people do it and it's popular. I have no desire to do that. I'd rather watch it at my own pace, digest it, take notes, and then do a vlog afterwards of covering it and tell you what I think about it. And that's how I'll be doing E3 again this year. Okay? All right. This question is from AKFMN, and he says, why do you plug Patreon so much? Well, it's quite obvious. The reason I plug Patreon so much is the same reason that I plug products left and right on all of my streams. As you know, I constantly interrupt my content in order to ask for subs and donations, and for you to buy my t-shirts, and to buy my book, and to buy my hat, and to buy, you know, buy my underwear, and I'm constantly just shilling things non-stop during everything that I do. So it's because I just care about money. That I just can't help it. I'm so just enveloped in greed and money. I need money. I need money. It's a stupid question, because the bottom line is I don't plug Patreon so much. In fact, usually in the first couple weeks of a month, I don't even mention it, because I don't even have anything set up for people to pledge towards until, say, the middle of the month when I have goals set up. Why do I talk about Patreon? Well, let's see. What has Patreon done for me this year? just from the very beginning. It allowed me to play Minecraft, which I never did before, and get a whole new mindset on the game. It allowed me to play Persona 4, which I never played before. I love it. It's actually one of my favorite RPGs that I've played in the past several years. Regardless of the fact that the viewership isn't high, I'm still able to play it. I don't have to worry about my business going out of business. I was able to buy this new microphone. Very shortly, you're going to be seeing soundproofing foam going up all around my office, right? I was able to take time out to work on a green screen setup, which I kind of messed around with and people seem to be loving this week, right? I was able to do an indie games marathon that was completely out of my comfort zone and people absolutely love. So it's like positive, 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 and then maybe a couple streams a month, a week or two. In the pre-stream only, I mentioned Patreon. I think that's a fair trade-off. Like, seriously, I think it's a fair trade-off that I have to plug something, 10 times, 12 times a month, and it works out that everyone benefits. Like, do you not watch television? Do you think that things are on TV for free? No. There's advertisements that pay for the television, so you don't have to pay for it. How do you think I pay for this? It's not rocket science. I mentioned Patreon so that I can make the monies to get the equipment, to make the videos, to do the streams, and you watch the streams, you like the streams. And I'm not trying to insult this one particular guy. There's people who sometimes when I'm doing these Patreon plugs and stuff on a pre-stream, which isn't part of the gameplay, oh, Phil's just plugging this again? Oh, again? Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's life. Like, what? It's like 1 + 1 = 2. I make video content. I talk about Patreon, get some funds, plus the ad revenue equals I make more videos. Like, how does this not, like, why is this a question? Like, huh? Like, for anyone, it just seems to me like there's people on planet Earth. I want no advertisement. I don't have to ever spend money. I don't ever want to see an ad, but I want everything to come to me for free, right? I want you to bring me food, bring me delicious plates of hors d'oeuvres, bring me naked women to sit on my cock and spin, and bring me television entertainment programs, bring me everything. But I'm not paying for it, and I don't want to hear advertisements. Okay, maybe there's some person on Earth where that happens. I'm not that person, so I have to live like everyone else, and I have to find a way to make money. Patreon is one way for crazy good improvements to my content, plus me to make a little money to pay my bills while I'm still able to provide free videos for you. That's why I plug Patreon. That's the answer. That was silly. All right. Next question. And incidentally, the next question is actually a pretty intelligent question about Patreon, which is why I ordered the questions like this. This one is from Wanglord. And he asks the following. He says, with YouTube increasingly become a battlefield between publishers and content creators, with publishers now wanting a piece of the profits from everyone who does a gameplay video, do you see that Patreon will become the future for content creators? We've even seen known faces from various gaming sites like IGN and Destructoid breaking away from their traditional media to focus more on their own personalities. And they've been incredibly successful in doing so. In case in point, Jim Sterling left The Escapists last year, and he's now raking in more than $10,000 a month on Patreon. So you assume he's making a hell of a lot more money. $120,000 a year is probably more money than he was making working at The Escapist. So to me, Patreon seems to be the perfect middle ground for people who don't want to invest the time, cost, and effort into either developing their own website where you're going to host your videos outside of YouTube, or incessantly begging for donations and subs and things if you're a Twitch TV streamer. It gives viewers the ability to support a content creator without becoming a nuisance to the non-paying viewer. Right. I mean, yes. And I think you're going to see increasingly more and more and more as we move forward. You're going to see people move away from plain ad revenue programs on YouTube and move to other stuff. Because I've talked about this publicly before. I'll very briefly cover it again. In 2012, YouTube ad revenues dropped by about 50%. That's not like an exaggeration. That's not a joke. That's not me saying the sky is falling. I know because I track my own stats on YouTube. Channels that were making $10,000 to $15,000 of ad revenue a month plummeted down to like $6,000 of ad revenue a month. And everyone said, what the fuck? And what they found out was that YouTube was selectively selling ads that paid more to certain companies. They were actually finding, like, they were guerrilla hunting ads and giving the best ads or more ads to the big boys, like movie studios, right? Game studios, stuff like that wanted to promote their content. And the little guy, the little content creators like you and me, were getting shit. And this includes networks like Machinima. They were all getting shit ads. And the ad revenue went, boo, right through the toilet. And all of a sudden, come 2012, 2013, when everyone took a big pay cut, all the contracts for YouTube changed. Everyone who was getting a partnership wasn't getting the kind of money like I do. Like, I'm still in a legacy contract that gets pretty damn good money for YouTube. Most people don't have that. They have all these contracts based off of ad revenue that goes like this during the year. So January, ad revenue goes up. February, it plummets down until like March, and it goes up. Then all of a sudden, the summer's terrible, but then the holiday season, ad revenue goes up. Now, who can live like that? How do you know if you don't consistently know what kind of a paycheck you can expect? How can you pay your bills? You know what I mean? How can you see anything? How can you understand how your business is going to operate? How can you even operate a consistent business when some months you can make tons of money, but you have no idea, and other months you have nothing? You don't know what kind of money you can invest into improvements. You don't know what you can afford when it comes to travel or projects. You never know anything. And that's the problem. So what a lot of YouTubers have done is they've left the model of I'm reliant on ad revenue, and they decided to go out, whether it's Kickstarter, whether it's GoFundMe, whether it's now Patreon seems to be the big place to go right now. And they say that every month, I'll hit these goals. If you hit this goal, we'll do a special event. You'll get a perk if you hit this level, etc., etc. And everyone, I mean, I'm serious. Leanna watches certain people on YouTube. Every person she watches has Patreon. Like, everyone. And this thing is, you know, a lot of those guys started after me, and they have Patreon. It's like, well, I've been around the block. It was only until recently that I adopted Patreon. You know, it seems like I was late to the game. It seems like everyone already realized that YouTube wasn't enough to sustain a business just on its own, so let's try to have other or other revenue streams, per se. Patreon is cool because it's direct funding from the people who watch your content, who want to see it continue and improve and support it. So, it's great that I still get the YouTube viewership that I do. Those of you who can't afford to be patrons, great. Just continue to watch the videos, do whatever you've been doing since day one. You support me. For those of you who can do a little bit more, you have the optional ability to give something to Patreon, and it supports me and improves the business in various ways that you can physically see in front of you right now, right? So a person like Jim Sterling, he was working for The Escapist. He probably was constantly being asked by his fans, Jim, you're bigger than The Escapist. We like the fact that you could do this and this and this. Why don't you do your own thing? Why don't you do your own thing? He's like, but I can't do it on the paycheck The Escapist does, and they have me doing shit that doesn't allow me to do my own creative stuff. So he left. He opened a Patreon account. Boom, $10,000 a month. He makes 120 grand. He probably invests half of that into the business and sits on a pretty 60 grand profit a year that he spends on having a nice living. You know, same thing with these guys from IGN. There was a team of guys from IGN who quit, did their own thing. They're running their own thing now. It's successful. They're making tons of money via Patreon. I do see this becoming bigger and bigger and bigger in the long run. I do see this becoming almost a mainstream way to finance people who want to do internet-based content for people. And it's funny, oh, but Patreon's supposed to be for artists. What do you think this is? You know what I mean? You don't think that this is considered like art or entertainment? It's all the same. Just because this isn't a painting or a hand drawing doesn't mean that it's not an entertaining piece of content that people want to fund. So, a patron of the arts, which is what the word Patreon is based off of, means anything that could have considered having artistic value. Playing a video game, doing a Let's Play, reviewing a game, any kind of gaming-related content is considered under that umbrella. And yes, I do see YouTubers in the future going over to that model, okay? We'll do one more question for this part. We'll take a break, and then we'll do the final part. This question is from Uncle Sam57, and he says, Phil, I'd like to know the information on Game Day, and if you're ever going to be doing that show, because you haven't talked about it in a long time. Now, for those of you who don't know what Game Day is, Game Day was my idea where I used to do a show called Release Day Unboxing, where on release day of a game, I would come back from the local game store, GameStop, whatever. I would physically unbox the game, open it, show you what came in the box, talk a little bit about my background with that game series and what I'm expecting in the game, and how I would be covering that game during the course of the week. Over the years, that series digressed into basically me saying, well, there's nothing in the box at all but the disc, so there's nothing really to talk about. I'll talk for 5 minutes about the game, and then we'll start playing, and people were like, but it's not really an unboxing anymore. It's not exciting, but we'd like to still hear your initial thoughts on game series. So I said, well, maybe what I'll do, there's a show I'll call Game Day, where on every Tuesday or whatever day it is that the new release is out, I'll go to the store, I'll grab the games, and if there's something to show you unboxing, I will. If not, maybe I'll do like a green screen where behind me I'll show, you know, artwork from the games or the history of the games, maybe gameplay from previous games that I've done, and explain how excited I am to play the game and how I'll be covering it that week. I never did it because I never had a green screen. Now I have a green screen, but the green screen's set up in my garage, and unfortunately, the garage is in the garage. It's not here in the studio, office, whatever you want to call it. I don't have a microphone set up over there to record my audio. So unfortunately, again, I have the green screen finally set up and working, but now I need to find more solutions for maybe capturing audio down there so that when eventually I do have a chance to do this kind of stuff, I can do it. What I'm thinking, and this is what I've been telling people for months now, is that what I'd like to do is get a better camera, a professional quality camera that maybe has audio in for commentary, and I can get a decent mic that I can attach to the camera, and I could do the voiceovers that way, and then I could just take that video, throw it right into Adobe Premiere, use the audio for the audio because it'll sound good because it's from a mic, and then do the green screen shit behind me in Premiere. But I need a better camera. My cameras now are very low quality. They're not meant to do that stuff, and that's what I'm trying to fund is my stretch goal on Patreon. If I ever raise extra, say $750 or so, I'd like to buy a camera that has that capability, and that'll be one of the things that I focus on, okay? So I would love to do game day, but I don't have the means to do it yet. I can't do a green screen here. There's no room in the office to do it. And downstairs in the garage, I don't have the ability to record audio right now. If I get a better camera, hopefully later this year, that's a great idea. That could be one of the shows I do down there, okay? All right, so that is it. We're going to take a break. I need to rest my voice. I'm almost out of voice right now from talking. We're going to come back with the final part of Ask the King for this month. If you're watching on YouTube, look for part 3. It's going to be right here on this channel. If you're on the stream, hang in there. I'll be back in a couple minutes with the conclusion of Ask the King. Thanks a lot, everyone. I'll be back shortly.